Ever wondered what makes a guitarist truly unforgettable? What is it about the way certain players make their guitars sing, scream, and soar that captivates generations? In this countdown, we'll be exploring the most influential and iconic guitarists in history, those who left an indelible mark on every genre, from the bluesy bends of B.B. King to the mind-bending riffs of Eddie Van Halen. But who's truly the best of all time? Is it the soulful groove of Carlos Santana or the electric energy of Prince? Maybe it's the unparalleled virtuosity of Jimi Hendrix. Stick with us as we reveal the ultimate guitar legend, and don't forget to sound off in the comments. Do you prefer a player who shreds or one who plays with subtle precision? Let's dive in and find out who stands at the very top. Carlos Santana. There's something special about the ability to blend genres and bring a fresh perspective to a sound that hasn't gotten much attention. Carlos Santana did this effortlessly in the late 60s and 70s when he mixed Latin rhythms with jazz fusion and hard rock, creating something entirely new. His fluid, powerful guitar playing became a force that couldn't be ignored. And when he teamed up with Neil Schon, who would later go on to form Journey, on Santana's third album, it pushed the band's influence to even greater heights. Always evolving, Santana's playing is a unique mix of being progressive, heavy, and deeply emotional. Even after decades of success, he continued to innovate, with his multi-platinum hit album Supernatural marking a new chapter in his legendary career at the turn of the millennium. Bo Diddley. Born in 1928 in Mome, Mississippi, Ellis McDaniel, better known as Bo Diddley, was raised on the south side of Chicago. Bo Diddley earns his spot at the top of this list not because we think he's an average guitarist, but because of his groundbreaking style and iconic rectangular guitar. His influence on rock and roll is undeniable, possibly even surpassing legends like Chuck Berry and Jimi Hendrix. Over the years, major artists like the Rolling Stones, Elvis, and Muddy Waters have all recorded his songs. Drawing heavily from West African rhythms, his sound has become a key foundation in rock, rap, and blues music. Johnny Ramone. Johnny Ramone, born John William Cummings, played a pivotal role in shaping punk rock with his distinct style and powerful guitar playing. Henry Rollins once said, "The first guitar player I've ever seen playing with such enthusiasm was Johnny, and I thought, wow, that's groovy." Johnny's riffs, though not overly complex, were groundbreaking at the time and continue to resonate today. Tracks like Blitzkrieg Bop, Judy is a Punk, and Rockaway Beach prove just how revolutionary his sound was. Mark Knopfler. We've all heard the saying, less is more, but Mark Knopfler, the mastermind behind Dire Straits, took that concept to a whole new level with his subtle and nuanced playing. Like Fleetwood Mac's Lindsey Buckingham, Knopfler is a fingerstyle guitarist who avoids flashy riffs and showy solos. Instead, he brings a melodic, tasteful approach to every note, infusing his playing with emotion and depth. For every high-energy solo, like the iconic one in Sultans of Swing, there's a quieter moment of brilliance, like the delicate intro to Romeo and Juliet or the driving hook in Lady Writer. After his success with Dire Straits, Knopfler went on to enjoy a solo career, even composing a beautiful score for the beloved 80s classic The Princess Bride. Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead fans or Deadheads, would tell you that the band is far more than just a group that spanned from the early 1960s through the Summer of Love in 1969 and into the 1990s. The Grateful Dead movement left a lasting mark on culture as a whole. At the heart of it all was Jerry Garcia, the band's driving force. His unique blend of musical styles, mixing Spanish guitar, bluegrass, jazz, and classic rock and roll, was unconventional, thought-provoking, and truly beautiful. Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson needs no introduction. With around 100 studio albums and a career spanning over 60 years, his legacy speaks for itself. His trusty guitar, Trigger, has been his companion throughout it all, featuring a custom strap and pickups. The pick he's used for so long has worn a hole right through the guitar's bridge, now almost reaching the sound hole. Nelson's distinct style mixes elements of jazz, country, blues, and rock, creating a sound that's uniquely his. Even at nearly 90, he's still performing live, showing no signs of slowing down. Joni Mitchell. If we asked you to rate the music of Roberta Joan Anderson, you might pause for a moment. But if we mentioned that she's better known as Joni Mitchell, we're sure you'd recognize her right away and probably list a few of her songs that you love. Mitchell is famous for creating songs with unconventional guitar tunings, all while sticking to the same basic chords. Back in the day, she would travel with 5 identical Iommi guitars, each strung with different gauge strings to match the specific tunings she needed for different songs. These days, she's streamlined things and plays just one guitar, though her distinctive playing style remains as unique as ever. Billy Gibbons. Billy Gibbons is known for so many things. His groundbreaking work with the Moving Sidewalks, his iconic role in ZZ Top, and his influence in the world of psychedelic and Southern rock. He was even one of Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitar players, alongside Terry Kath of Chicago, and it's easy to see why. Gibbons is a master of the craft, but he's often a bit under the radar. His vast array of influences, everything from swamp blues to boogie-woogie, makes him a remarkably versatile player, and it's this range that helped define ZZ Top's riff-heavy signature sound. Add to that Gibbons' willingness to embrace the synthesizer craze of the 1980s with ZZ Top's Eliminator album, delivering hits like Legs and Got Me Under Pressure. And it's clear, Billy Gibbons is the man. Yngwie Malmsteen. Remember how we just talked about less is more? Well, forget that for a second, because it definitely doesn't apply to Sweden's Yngwie Malmsteen. He's all about the neoclassical shred style, and his more is more approach is all about speed, technique, and precision. After leaving the 80s metal band Steeler, Malmsteen's early solo work drew heavily on the classical compositions pioneered by bands like Deep Purple in the 70s. His music blends fantasy and romantic themes with fiery guitar heroics that'll blow your mind. Malmsteen belongs to that elite group of guitarists, alongside legends like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, whose fretboard skills are truly otherworldly. Buddy Guy. Imagine if you could have a private, free Buddy Guy show at your place whenever you wanted. We'd definitely jump at the chance, and we're pretty sure you would too. But here's a surprising bit of trivia. As a kid, Buddy Guy was actually kicked out of his family's house because his music was too loud for his parents. Despite that, he went on to become a guitar legend and is still widely regarded as one of the greatest players to ever pick up the instrument. Tom Morello. Tom Morello, known for his unique blend of effects, hip-hop beats, and punk influences, has consistently earned recognition as one of the most impressive guitarists around. Publications like Rolling Stone and the BBC have all ranked him among the best. His innovative sound was a huge part of what made Rage Against the Machine so iconic. Beyond his work with Rage and Audioslave, Morello has also collaborated with music legends like Bruce Springsteen and continues to explore new projects with various artists. Angus Young. Angus Young's schoolboy look has become a defining part of his stage persona, and it's hard to imagine him any other way, especially considering he was born in 1955. His signature outfit of shorts, a tie, and a Gibson SG has become so iconic that even those who aren't familiar with AC/DC would likely recognize it. Joining the band at just 18, Young has penned and performed legendary tracks like Back in Black and Highway to Hell, and he's still rocking out to this day. Prince. Prince is a legendary figure in the realms of pop, rock, and funk fusion. But amidst all his iconic accomplishments, it's easy to overlook just how incredible he was as a guitarist. Just watch his performance at the 2004 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony, where he effortlessly stole the show, leaving a stage full of legends in his wake. He was a walking masterclass, playing the guitar like it was an extension of himself, delivering licks and solos that seemed to pulse with electricity. Whether with the Revolution or on his own, Prince's guitar skills were truly one of a kind. Robby Krieger. The Doors wouldn't be the band we know today without their guitarist, Robby Krieger. While Jim Morrison is often the most recognized member, Krieger played a crucial role in shaping their sound, especially given their minimalist approach with no bass guitars or rhythm. His mastery of jazz and flamenco helped create one of the most distinctive sounds in rock history. Krieger wasn't just a skilled guitarist, he was also a talented composer. Some of his most memorable work includes co-writing Riders on the Storm and penning House, but Light My Fire remains one of his standout contributions to the band's legacy. The Edge. The Edge, born David Evans, is the iconic guitarist behind U2's signature sound. While Bono's vocals often steal the spotlight, the Edge's unique playing style is just as integral to the band's success. What's even more impressive is that he taught himself how to play guitar. With tracks like I Will Follow, Pride in the Name of Love, and The Fly in his repertoire, it's clear that his contribution to U2's music is undeniable. Dimebag Darrell. Heavy metal is always evolving, shaped by daring musicians who push the boundaries of sound. In the 90s, Pantera became one of the key forces driving this change. Originally a hair metal band, they embraced the power groove style pioneered by bands like Exorder and made it their own. At the heart of their transformation was Dimebag Darrell's explosive guitar work. His playing was both theatrical and relentlessly heavy, creating riffs that drew listeners into the mosh pit with their thrashy sound and precise, deliberate phrasing. Tragically, Darrell's career and life were cut short in 2004 when he was shot by an obsessed fan while performing on stage. Scotty Moore. Scotty Moore is often regarded as one of the most influential figures in the development of rock and roll, and his work with Elvis Presley played a pivotal role in the King's rise to fame. Though Elvis is rightly celebrated for his unique vocal style and groundbreaking dance moves, it was Moore's guitar work that helped shape the sound of rock and roll in its earliest form. Starting in the mid-1950s, when he was still in his teens, Moore became Elvis's go-to guitarist, contributing to some of the most iconic recordings in history. His innovative use of the slapback echo effect became a defining feature of Presley's sound, instantly recognizable on tracks that helped lay the foundation for modern rock music. Songs like That's All Right, Mystery Train, and Heartbreak Hotel showcase Moore's exceptional ability to blend rhythm and lead playing, creating a seamless, energetic sound that perfectly complemented Elvis's voice. Even during Elvis's celebrated 1968 comeback special, it was Moore's guitar that anchored many of the performances, proving that his contributions were just as crucial to Elvis's success as the King's own electrifying presence. Muddy Waters. Muddy Waters, born McKinley Morganfield in rural Mississippi in 1913, moved to Chicago in his mid-20s and began blending his raw, Southern-style blues with the more polished, electric sound of the city. Growing up playing Delta blues in his hometown, Waters went on to become one of the greatest blues artists of all time, shaping the sound of modern music in ways that are still felt today. His 1950 song, Rolling Stone, even inspired the name of the legendary band. Jimi Hendrix also counted him as a major influence on his own music. Pete Townshend. Pete Townshend, guitarist and co-founder of The Who, is the perfect example of style and substance, a combination that helped shape the sound of classic rock in the 60s and 70s. Known for his perfectionism and meticulous attention to detail, Townshend's guitar work always feels intentional, even in the midst of the chaos that often defined his live performances. His energy on stage was unmatched, and he became an iconic figure for young guitarists looking to make their mark. If you've ever seen someone at a local gig windmill their arm while playing, chances are they're channeling Pete Townshend. But it wasn't just his signature moves that made him legendary. Pete's songwriting ability and technical skill elevated The Who to one of the greatest English rock bands of all time. His ability to blend powerful riffs with thoughtful compositions is what truly set him apart, turning every performance into something more than just a spectacle. It was an experience that both fans and aspiring guitarists would remember. Frank Zappa, genius or madman? Frank Zappa could easily be described as both. A fiercely individual guitar player, he refused to be confined to any one style. Whether it was jazz fusion, hard rock, or psychedelia, Zappa tackled it all with his unique touch, proving time and again that his talent had no boundaries. That's part of the magic behind Zappa's extensive catalog. There's literally something for everyone. If you're craving some heavy psych vibes, dive into one of his groovier albums with the Mothers of Invention. Looking for something truly out there? His film score for 200 Motels or the twisted concept album Joe's Garage will take you on a wild ride. Sadly, Frank's life was cut short by prostate cancer in 1993, leaving us to wonder just how much more mind-bending music he might have created. One thing's for sure, Zappa's influence lives on, and his legacy as one of the most daring and unpredictable composers in music history is secure. Tony Iommi. Were there heavy guitar players before Tony Iommi? Definitely, but none quite captured the essence of heavy metal the way this Black Sabbath co-founder did. The story goes that Iommi's iconic sound came from a life-changing accident on his last day working in a factory, which led to the loss of 2 fingertips on his fretting hand. With the help of custom prosthetics, Iommi had to adjust his playing style, pressing harder on the strings, and this shift transformed his approach to guitar. The result? Heavy, doomy, and down-tuned riffs that sounded like they belonged in a gothic horror film. Iommi's solo work is often overlooked, but it's just as distinctive, characterized by light, slack strings, and a style that prioritized mood over flashy techniques. Simply put, before any other metal band came onto the scene, Iommi and Black Sabbath were already doing it all. Tom Petty. Tom Petty is best known as the lead singer of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, but he was also a talented guitarist in his own right. That said, it's hard to talk about Petty's music without mentioning Mike Campbell, the Heartbreakers guitarist. Campbell is the one behind most of the iconic solos on Petty's first solo album, Full Moon Fever. Neil Young. Neil Young, often called the godfather of grunge, was born in Toronto, Canada, in 1945. From the flower power movement of the 1960s to the raw, gritty rock bands of the 90s like Nirvana and Pearl Jam, Young's influence has spanned generations. He's played with bands like Buffalo Springfield and Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, helping shape the counterculture. Even today, Young is still performing, with a guitar sound that's just as distinct and passionate as his voice. Ritchie Blackmore. If Tony Iommi is considered the godfather of heavy metal, then Ritchie Blackmore of Deep Purple wasn't far behind. Blackmore's flashy, classically inspired guitar style stood in stark contrast to the heavier, arena rock sound that dominated the 70s. Deep Purple, with their psychedelic roots, embraced lightning-fast tempos and elaborate solos, pushing the limits of rock as the decade wore on. To hear some of Blackmore's finest work, check out the Mark III lineup with future Whitesnake frontman David Coverdale. Tracks like Burn showcase his fiery lead guitar, while Soldier of Fortune highlights his ability to bring out deep emotion. But Blackmore wasn't confined to hard rock. Later on, he ventured into melodic English folk music with his project, Blackmore's Night, proving his musical versatility. B.B. King. What more can we say about blues legend B.B. King that hasn't already been said? In a genre as rich in tradition as the blues, it's tough to stand out among the many musicians trying to make their mark. The blues is all about digging deep and sharing your raw emotions, and simplicity often serves as the truest form of expression. King communicated just as powerfully through his guitar, Lucille, as he did with his voice on timeless tracks like The thrill is gone. His playing was smooth, almost effortless, as he let the strings tell his story. There was a raw honesty, a depth of feeling, and pure guts in B.B. King's music. Those qualities are just a part of what made him such an iconic figure. Slash, the iconic guitarist from Guns N' Roses, played a key role in the band's rise to global stardom in the early 90s. Alongside Axl Rose's powerhouse vocals and magnetic stage presence, Slash's signature guitar solos became a defining part of the band's sound. He's behind the unforgettable solos in tracks like November Rain and Sweet Child O' Mine. Despite a long-standing feud, Slash and Rose have since patched things up and are once again touring and recording together. Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly is often credited with shaping modern rock music in ways that are still felt today. It's hard to argue against his impact. He's seen as one of the pioneers of rock, inspiring legends like Eric Clapton, the Beatles, and Elton John. Songs like That'll Be the Day and Peggy Sue are timeless, and it's incredible to think that someone created a sound so iconic decades ago. His unique mix of country and blues continues to captivate audiences and influence musicians across generations. Dick Dale. Dick Dale, born May 4, 1937 in Boston, Massachusetts, is often hailed as one of the founders of surf rock. While it might seem surprising that he was born on the East Coast, it makes more sense when you learn that he took up surfing at 17 and later moved to Southern California with his family as a teenager. With iconic tracks like the Peter Gunn theme and Miserlou, Dale drew inspiration from Middle Eastern musical scales and experimented with reverb, creating the signature guitar sound that would become synonymous with surfing culture. Randy Rhoads. Oh, what could have been. There's no doubt that Randy Rhoads, the former guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne and Quiet Riot, accomplished a lot in his short career. But given his incredible talent, it's hard not to wonder what more he could have achieved had he not tragically lost his life in a plane crash. Rhoads left a lasting impact, inspiring generations of guitarists with his unique blend of hard rock intensity and classical skill. Need proof? Listen to Laughing Gas with Quiet Riot or any of the tracks from the 2 albums he recorded with Ozzy. Rhoads was an icon, taken far too soon, but his legacy and influence will live on forever. Eric Clapton. Clapton is God. This famous graffiti slogan in the UK helped propel a young Eric Clapton into the spotlight when he formed Cream in 1966. Cream became one of the bands that bridged the gap, taking Britain's love of the blues and turning it into something heavier, harder, and more psychedelic. The band not only pushed the boundaries of the genre, but it also cemented Clapton's status as a guitar hero. Clapton's career didn't stop there. He went on to create more classic music with Derek and the Dominoes, followed by a successful solo career. However, his journey wasn't without its challenges. Battles with drug addiction, a controversial anti-immigration outburst in 1976, and the heartbreaking loss of his son all complicated his life and career. Despite these struggles, there's no denying Clapton's massive influence on generations of guitarists, and his impact continues to resonate today. Freddie King. Freddie King, known as the Texas Cannonball because of his large physique, was famous for his electrifying live performances. He developed a unique sound by using metal picks designed for banjos to play his guitar, which set him apart from other artists. Eric Clapton, who also made this list, credited King's 1961 song I Love the Woman as the catalyst for his own musical journey. While King's most famous track is probably The Stumble, his ability to blend rock and blues left a lasting impact on the music world, continuing to influence artists today. Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was born in Aberdeen, Washington, on February 20th, 1967. On his 14th birthday, his uncle gave him a choice: a second-hand guitar or a brand-new bike. Little did anyone know, that guitar would spark one of rock history's most brilliant yet brief careers. Cobain, along with his band Nirvana, blended rock, punk, and folk to create a raw, gritty sound that was all their own. Hits like Heart-Shaped Box, All Apologies, and Smells Like Teen Spirit became instant classics and helped shape the future of adolescent counterculture and music as a whole. John Lennon. John Lennon had a unique ability to take a simple song and turn it into a timeless classic. Tracks like Help, Day Tripper, and Your Blues wouldn't be what they are without Lennon's distinctive touch as the rhythm guitarist for the Beatles, the best-selling band of all time. However, his guitar work often gets overlooked. Lennon himself once joked, "They called George the Invisible Singer. I am the invisible guitar player." Albert King. Albert King, born on April 25, 1923, in Indianola, Mississippi, earned the nickname the Velvet Bulldozer, thanks to his imposing size and smooth vocal style. Though he was left-handed, King played a right-handed guitar. When asked about his influences in 1968, he famously said he had none because everything I do is wrong. Yet all that wrong somehow came together perfectly, earning him admiration from artists like Jimi Hendrix and Eric Clapton throughout his career. So, while the name Albert Nelson might not ring a bell, his legacy as Albert King certainly does. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan played classic down-home American blues, but it was his approach to the genre that made him a legend. His blue-collar intensity was both raw and captivating, drawing listeners in with every note. Vaughan had a unique ability to take a simple four-bar riff and turn it into a powerful, soulful melody, with his guitar blazing through tracks like Texas Flood and Crossfire. With just a solid drum and bass backbeat, he could make his fretboard sing. Vaughan's talent earned him worldwide admiration and respect. Tragically, he was taken from us in a helicopter crash in 1990, leaving the blues and rock world without one of its brightest stars, Keith Richards. Sometimes the simplest riffs are the most powerful, and Start Me Up and I Can't Get No Satisfaction are perfect examples of that. Both of these iconic tracks share one thing in common: Keith Richards, their co-writer and guitarist. Keith has that effortless rock star swagger that makes him stand out. Whether it's the way he plays with his guitar slung low, his passion for living life to the fullest, or the instantly recognizable riffs, Keith just has that special something. But don't be fooled. He's serious about his craft. As any Stones fan will tell you, the Rolling Stones didn't reach classic rock royalty by doing anything halfway. David Gilmour. Pink Floyd had already started making waves with their unique psychedelic rock sound before 1967, but when David Gilmour joined the band that December, they gained a whole new dimension. With Gilmour, Floyd went on to create genre-defining albums like Animals, Metal, and Dark Side of the Moon. Gilmour wasn't just a supporting player. His influence grew so much that he ended up taking the reins when founding member Roger Waters left in 1985. While this shift divided some fans, the albums that followed were arguably even smoother, more melodic, and emotionally powerful, all thanks to David's incredible tone and technique. He truly is one of a kind. Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen's fingers launched countless careers with one groundbreaking instrumental that put every other band on notice. That song was Eruption, and it forever changed heavy rock. Every hair metal band on the Sunset Strip tried to mimic Eddie's furious technique and unmatched flair, but no one could do it like he did. A big part of that was his classical influences, a true understanding of music theory that took every Van Halen track to another level. From Atomic Punk and Jamie's Cryin' to On Fire, Light Up the Sky, and Mean Street, Eddie had the riffs, the style, and a band of killer musicians backing him up. It was pure magic. Jimmy Page. Eddie Van Halen changed the game with one iconic instrumental that set every other band on alert. That track, Eruption, revolutionized rock music. Every hair metal band on the Sunset Strip tried to replicate Eddie's fierce technique and unique style, but no one could match his energy. Part of what made Eddie so special was his classical training and deep understanding of music theory, which took every Van Halen song to new heights. Whether it was Atomic Punk, Jamie's Cryin', On Fire, Light Up the Sky, or Mean Street, Eddie had the riffs, the swagger, and a killer band behind him. It was nothing short of magical. Jimi Hendrix. His career may have burned out too soon, but this rock legend undeniably revolutionized the electric guitar. Jimi Hendrix and his band, The Experience, were more than just a bluesy, psychedelic rock powerhouse. They were a symbol of rock music's evolution. A big part of that was Hendrix's incredible skills and commanding stage presence, a whirlwind of charisma that went far beyond setting his guitar on fire or playing with his teeth. His playing was just as full of taste and finesse as it was with raw, intense energy. This unstoppable force captured the hearts of anyone lucky enough to witness the master in action. Joe Walsh. Joe Walsh, whose full name includes the unforgettable middle name Fiddler, seemed destined for a career in music from the start. He joined the Eagles just as they were about to release their massive hit, Hotel California. His guitar work on that track features one of the most iconic solos in rock history. Beyond Hotel California, Walsh also made his mark with songs like Rocky Mountain Way and Funk No. 49, adding his signature sound to the rock scene. Duane Allman. Duane Allman, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, left us far too soon. Reflecting on his passing, Robert Randolph once said, "Duane died young, and it's just one of those things." Allman's playing style was all about precision, and it was clear that he was only going to get better with time. He's best known for his unforgettable slide guitar work in Allman Brothers classics like Statesboro Blues, Whipping Post, and Blue Sky. Unfortunately, we were robbed of witnessing his full potential after his tragic motorcycle accident. Joe Perry. Joe Perry, better known by his middle name, has been behind some of the most iconic guitar solos and songs like Dream On, Walk This Way, and Janie's Got a Gun, alongside Steven Tyler's powerhouse vocals. It's no wonder Perry's always at the top of his game, after all, as he's said. You can't let a voice like that be let down by subpar guitar playing. Rolling Stone even called his riffs blues on steroids, and it's hard to disagree with that assessment. Peter Frampton. Peter Frampton, the legendary guitarist, known for his soulful playing and innovative techniques, first rose to fame with Humble Pie before launching a successful solo career. Born in 1950, his live album, Frampton Comes Alive, from 1976, remains one of the best-selling live recordings of all time, showcasing his incredible guitar skills. Frampton's reputation as a guitar prodigy has only grown stronger through his collaborations with icons like George Harrison and David Bowie, alongside his own standout solo performances. Lindsey Buckingham. Lindsey Buckingham, the laid-back superstar, once shared both a romantic and musical partnership with the legendary Stevie Nicks. After Mick Fleetwood discovered him, Buckingham joined Fleetwood Mac, but only on the condition that Nicks could join as well. His guitar work on the iconic album Rumours stands as a masterpiece, blending slickness with intensity. Buckingham's career became even more legendary due to the dramatic on-stage tension with Nicks following their difficult breakup. Jimmy Vivino. Jimmy Vino, a talented guitarist and band leader, is best known for his role as the guitarist and musical director for Jimmy Vino and the Basic Cable Band on Conan O'Brien's late-night shows. Over the years, he's collaborated with artists like Donald Fagen and Al Kooper. Vino has earned recognition in the music industry for his ability to seamlessly move between a wide range of musical genres. George Harrison. George Harrison definitely belongs on this list. As John Lennon once noted, Harrison's guitar work often outshone that of Lennon and Paul McCartney, who sometimes took a back seat. Tom Petty described Harrison's playing as very in tune, adding that his slide guitar work was exact and just a beautiful bravado. A talented composer, Harrison not only delivered unforgettable guitar solos, but also wrote timeless hits like Taxman and Here Comes the Sun. These legendary guitarists have each left an indelible mark on the world of music, shaping genres and inspiring generations of musicians to pick up the guitar and create something unforgettable. Their unique styles, unforgettable solos, and timeless hits continue to resonate with fans worldwide. So, who do you think should be included in the list of the greatest guitarists of all time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content about the top greatest guitarists in history. Stay tuned for more amazing stories and music insights.